Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Genevision Media. Today, we are joined by the lovely Sonia Poleon. She is a serial entrepreneur, a motivational speaker. She's an author. She's also a radio host, and she does her own talk show. So I'm very nervous today because she's going to show me how it's really done. So
Genevieve, nervous?
yeah. So so we're joined by her today, and she's just going to give us some nuggets about, being a woman in business, what it's like to live a life of an entrepreneur. I know that she does a lot of things in her day-to-day life. She's very busy, traveling the world, all those kinds of things. But I'm sure she'll give us like the balance of what it's really like. And also
Oh,
she'll be telling us, what she's been up to and what she's going to be doing in the future. So, hello, Sonia. Can you say hello to the audience and tell them a
hi,
bit?
Genevieve, and hello to the listeners and to the viewers. Lovely to be here. And thank you very much for extending an invitation to me to come and share my story with your audience.
Brilliant. Okay, so Sonia, tell us a bit about yourself. Tell us, from how you started, what kind of brought you to where you are today.
Oh my gosh, where do I go? Where do I start from? Okay, we've only got a couple of minutes. So I left school when I was 16 years old. I wasn't a boffin, I wasn't a geek, I wasn't the brightest spark in the class by far. As a matter of fact, I used to be really, really shy, and I would be the one that would sit right at the back, and I never wanted to be, pointed out. I never want the teacher to ask me any questions because I'm too afraid that I'll get it wrong. But life has its twists and it has its journeys, and I went on to, after I left school, I actually wanted to be a midwife. And in those days, we used to have something called a careers office. So after you had your results, you'd go to the careers officer, sit down with them, and they would actually tell you what they thought you should be. So I wanted to be a midwife, and in those days you also needed to do SRN and SEN, but that's not what I wanted to do. I just wanted to deliver babies. And the careers officer said to me, well, actually, I think you should go and be a typist. I was like, what? A typist? Because I was very good at that at school. And during school, they sent me to a college so that you can learn to do like administration, um, and office skills, and I was really, really good at it. So anyway, so she said to me, that's what you should be. So I went home and I actually told my parents, well, I told the careers officer that I want to be a midwife, and they said I should go and be a typist. And back in them days, your parents, well, our parents, my parents, they listened to people in authority. And so they was like, if that's what they said you should do, that's what you should do. So off I toddled to get my qualifications, and I got a diploma in I think it's called office skills or office practice in those days there. And I became a receptionist, and I'm one of them people, I get bored really, really easy, seriously. And so especially after I've accomplished something, I want to go on to the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. So I was really good at being a receptionist. And I worked in various different organizations, and then I decided, right, okay, I need to be a secretary now. I wasn't a very good secretary. When I say I wasn't a very good secretary, I was absolutely useless at shorthand. Absolutely useless at shorthand. I couldn't understand my own shorthand. Other people would dictate it to me. Oh, this is what you've written, Sonia, because I was useless at that. But I was very good at audio typing. And after that, I had this burning desire to become a housing officer. And that desire just did not, it would go away, then it would come back, and it would go away, and it would come back. And then because I couldn't get a job in housing, because in those days everything was experience, and I didn't have the experience, I thought, right, I'm just going to take any job. So I got a job as a secretary inside a housing association, and as time went by, I literally waited for my moment, and then I got a job as a housing officer. And I stayed in the first job as a housing officer for 9 years, and in that 9 years I've been threatened to be killed, threatened to be shot, threatened to be stabbed, threatened to have my throat cut from ear to ear. I've been locked in the property. I've been held hostage in the office for 2 hours by an ex-murderer. And I thought, actually, do you know what? As much as I love my job, there are just a few people who make it really, really difficult. So after my first job was in 9 years in one housing association, I went on to another one, and I eventually became an investigation officer. And I kind of like that because, you're snooping around people, seeing what they're up to. And people are amazing. They come up with some amazing things. I've had people who's used 11 variations of one name, to commit fraud in the housing industry. So people that have, and this is before, like nowadays, if you claim housing benefit, they can tell you, doesn't matter which borough you're in, they can tell. And those days, it was all manual stuff. And people would have a flat in this borough, that borough, and all the neighbouring boroughs. Oh my God, how'd they get away with it? So I really enjoyed that aspect. But then, and also then I decided I wanted to I wanted to do my degree. And actually that was at the end of my degree. So just as I finished my housing degree, I decided, you know what, I want to work for myself. So in housing, I was really good at my job, but there are a few things that I wasn't good at. And I'll tell you what I wasn't good at. I hate filing. I still hate filing. I hate filing. So when I used to have my appraisal at the end of the year, my boss would say, Sonia, you were good at A, B, C, D, E, F, and G, but, and the but is always what they use. So, your desk is a mess, you never do your filing, where's the files, blah, 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 blah. And I thought, I can't take this nonsense anymore. I just want to work for myself. But I didn't actually know exactly what I wanted to do. But because I was so passionate about properties, I knew that it was going to be in property. Didn't have any money, and me and my friends, that's all we used to do. We used to sit down till 3-4 o'clock in the morning and just think about how we were going to raise the money to get properties. And then my big break came. I had this flat that I had purchased, and it was £48,000. That's how much I paid for it. And this is when the market was like, roaring, soaring. So this flat that I bought for £48,000, 3 years later, it was now £250,000. That was my big break. And when I sold that, I started to buy properties, all over the place. And I didn't even have a strategy, right? All I knew is that I ate, slept, and breathed properties. So I used all my money and I went out and I bought properties all over England. Now, had I had the sense that I have now, I know I would just limit them to one area, because it became really, really monotonous and tiring to manage them myself, because I was a housing manager. So I thought I'd manage them myself. But now, after a couple of years, I thought, oh no, I can't do this, because I used to go to Manchester, then I'll be in Liverpool, the next week I'll be in Braintree. And so that's how it went. So I decided that I'll just let the estate agents manage them. That's okay. I'll let the estate agents manage them. And so that's what I did. Then what happened? I decided I was going to open a children's day nursery. I was no longer going to work with adults. I was going to work with children. I opened a children's day nursery. This was in 2005. And then a couple of years after I had opened the nursery, I was invited to speak at this event. And what happened was, it was a 2-day event. I was speaking on the second day, but on the first day I went there just to support people and see what was going on. So I was in a session with somebody, and somebody else was having a workshop, and she was going around and asking everybody, what kind of business they wanted to open. So I realized that, well, actually, these people don't have a business, and I did. And I didn't want it to seem as if to say I was showing off. So I was like, oh my gosh, what am I going to say? What am I going to say? So my hand was on my head. I was looking down at my feet, and I said, right, I'm going to say I'm opening a shoe shop. And in saying that I'm opening a shoe shop, after the workshop, people kept on coming up to me and saying, oh my gosh, when are you going to open this shop? When are you going to open this shop? And I thought, oh my gosh, I've said this, and now I have to continue with it. So then I spent 2 years researching shoes. When I'd go into a shoe shop, I'd always look on the bottom, and it'd either say made in India or made in China. Those were the two popular ones. And so I was dithering about, do I go to India or do I go to China? And so what happened was, my my sister and her husband were going to Hong Kong on holiday, and they invited me to come. And I said, well, I'm only going to come if you're going to come to China with me, because it was literally next door. So they said yes, and we went to China, and I got some links there. So when I came back, I thought it was fantastic. I started to communicate with this. So I met this guy. He was Nigerian, but he lived in China, and he actually spoke Chinese. And when you go into the interior in China, they do not speak English. And this is what happened. We were in a shoe shop in Hong Kong, and I went up to the guy who owned the shop. I said, listen, I want to open a shoe shop in England. Where in China do I go to get shoes made? He had an envelope like this that was already used. He wrote on it, go to this station, this ticket, go to this place, get a taxi. He wrote it all down in Chinese. So I said to my sister, right, yeah, tomorrow we're going to China. When I think about it now, I think, oh my gosh, I was so gullible. I was such a risk taker, because a man gives you, he writes it down on a piece of paper in Chinese. You don't speak Chinese. You go to the train station, you get the tickets, you go to China, you say, listen, I need a taxi. I want to go to this place here. The taxi takes you. What? Gone to my death. Anyway, so we went, and I met up on this guy over there. So we started to communicate, because I don't speak their language, but he did. So he helped me to meet other people, and he was my talk piece, really. He would speak to them in Chinese, because their English was really, really bad. And I ended up going to China like 5 times. But Chinese people are not into building relationships. They are into the transfer of currency. That's it. They're not about relationships. And for me, I'm about building relationships. So I found that quite difficult to deal with. Anyway, they all promised that they could make these shoes, the quality that I needed, and the quality was just not there, seriously. So I had about 5 or 6 different suppliers, but the quality wasn't there. And in the end, I went to Spain, and I got some Spanish shoes over there. I went to Italy. I went to Bulgaria. And actually, when I went to Bulgaria, they had there was a trade show, not trade show, a trade trip from the UK to Bulgaria. And the British embassy in Bulgaria, they arranged an evening, like a reception, they called it. They arranged a reception, and they invited, like, there was 10 of us from the UK, and everybody from our industry, they invited people from Bulgaria to come to that reception there at the ambassador's house, and so that we could, like, you know, talk to them about doing business. And it was really, really good, because at the end of the day, the majority of the people that were there, they all wanted to speak to me, and I was like so afraid. I was like, oh my god, what am I doing? And so they chose me to go on TV in Bulgaria. I was like, I don't speak Bulgarian. No, you've got to tell me what the questions are first. So anyway, so they had somebody who spoke it in English, and then they translated it. But when it came out on Bulgarian TV, it was, you know, they dubbed it so that it made it seem like I was speaking Bulgarian, but hell no, I don't. And anyway, so my shoe shop lasted 2 years. I opened it in Coulsdon, and I did all my market research. I went down there myself, and I done the surveys, spoke to the people, and everybody said, yes, we want a shoe shop. People just tell you what they want to tell you. After 2 years, they weren't interested in it. And my shop was so pretty. People used to come in and they wanted to buy the props, not the shoes. And I'll be like, I'm selling shoes. That's what I'm telling them. Oh, can I buy this cupboard here? Can I buy this box? Can I buy this table? Can I buy this chair? Those are not for sale. But I got a little bit angry. I was like, right, if that's what they want, I'll give it to them. So then I started to research furniture stuff, right? I realized that they were more into their home. So I'd say to people, listen, if you're looking in a magazine and you see something that you want, bring the picture into me and I'll research it and I'll get it for you. So I'd done that for quite a while, but business still wasn't good. And it was, and in a time where the government had changed hands, and, you know, the economic crisis came in, and so it just didn't last too long. So it lasted 2 years, and then afterwards I gave it up. when I gave it up, I knew I was supposed to be a public speaker. So I used to go around into schools. I'd done a road show, and started speaking to the youths in the school. The schools would ask me to come back the following year, and I just get little gigs, here and there. And what else now? What else did I do after the shoe shop, the public speaking? Then I already had my my nursery business, and people started to ask me about helping them to start a nursery, and then coaching started to become a really, really big thing. So I thought, right, okay, I'll help you to set up your nursery, and you'll pay me. So I used to charge them a fee, and I'd work with them for 6 months, because it's not really that easy to just set up a nursery like that. So I'd help them to do the research and just give them all the paperwork that they needed, and just help people to and even nowadays I probably have 2 or 3 clients that's for a nursery per year, and I don't ever advertise my services. Okay, the last client that I got, it was at Christmas time. I met her at a Christmas do, and we were just talking, and she was saying that she was opening a nursery, and I'd really like it if I could find a mentor, blah blah blah. So I just like listened to her talk. Right, I thought, right, this is it. And then I just told her, and so she's, oh my gosh, can I come down and have a look? And can you help me? So I said, obviously, there's a cost involved. It doesn't matter. You've done it before, it's successful. So that's how I just get the clients for that. And then, so my radio show now, what happened was I was a guest on the show, and the executive producer loved my personality, and he actually asked me if I wanted to. No, actually, hold on. What happened was the host, her dad was dying. She wanted to have quality time with her father, so she told the radio station. They suggested me. So I was like, no, that's not on my list of things to do before I die. I don't want to be a radio host. And they're like, but they requested you personally. They requested you. So I was like, I'm not too sure about that. Anyway, they gave me the program. This is how you make a program for your show. I was like, I can't do this. So I called up the radio, the executive producer. I said to her, listen, right, I said, I cannot come and do this show because I don't know what I'm doing. I've never done this before, and this is all, too hard. She's right. Well, if you can come in tomorrow morning at 7 o'clock, I'll prepare your show for you. All right, then. I couldn't say no. So for the first couple of weeks, she prepared my show, and then like maybe about 4 weeks later, she said, right, do you think you'll be able to prepare your own show? I was like, no, I can't. She said, well, you've got to do it. And that's how I fell into it, really. That's exactly how I fell into being a radio host. And I think, after that, for me, it's a natural progression to go on to TV. So now I've got my own TV show, which is coming out in Jamaica, not even in the UK. It's coming out in Jamaica, and it's called Visibility with Sonia. So I've recorded 5 episodes. I've got to record a couple more episodes, and then I'm going to go to Jamaica in probably a couple of months' time, and speak to the producers over there, see if it's good enough, whatever changes needs to be done, and let them know when there's a spot becomes available on their station to air my show. Now, once it's been aired over there, I will put it out on YouTube. Boom.
I'm just checking you can hear me because I've had some sounding issues.
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear.
Brilliant. That just seems like an amazing life, and it seems you've done so many different things. You've had a lot of experience. What would you say is the most, the best thing that's happened, and what would you say is something that was not so good?
Okay. I think most things that I do, when I go to do something, I do it 100%. I put all my effort in it. Okay, so I can't say this one was the best or that one was the best, right? Because I think all of them are great at the same time. I just go on to different stages in my life, and sometimes some stuff that I do is not planned. Just like the radio wasn't planned, the TV wasn't planned. All right, but I enjoy it. And I think probably the worst thing that's ever happened will probably be when I had my shoe shop. So I lost well, I didn't lose the shoe shop. I gave the shoe shop up because business wasn't good, and there's no point to, like, one business was paying for the other business, and like that just doesn't make sense. It's like, you know, throwing good money after bad. So I decided to give that up, and I really, 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 really loved that shoe shop. I I really had big plans for it, but I think it was just located in the wrong place. And so I lost a lot of money. And after having that business there, I suffered from depression for quite a while. I didn't quite understand why it happened to me. And sometimes we question God, you know, why? And I used to have prayer meetings in my shop, and and I'd say, like, you know, Lord, the Bible says if a man doesn't work, he shouldn't eat. I'm working 6 days a week. I should be eating from both of my businesses, you know. So I really did beat myself up about that. And like, I'm like, people want, there's a shop across the road from me. It had been there for like 30 years. It was a carpet shop, carpet and curtains. And I'm like, how many times can people buy carpet? How many times do you need curtains for your house, you know? So I didn't understand why. And that got me. And so after the shoe shop closed down, to anybody for like maybe 6 long time, no, no, no. And I just wanted to stay in my little box. I didn't want to come out of my box. I wanted to stay in my little box and just hold my corner over here, because it had hit me so much. I'd lost a tremendous amount of money, and I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to recover from it. But I just stayed in my little corner, just continued with the nursery, and then gradually just started to get my confidence back. And in getting my confidence back, well, I am where I am today, traveling the world, speaking. Tomorrow, I'm flying out to Atlanta. I'm going to Steve Harvey. I did an event last year with Eric Thomas, Ava and Eric Thomas. This year, we're doing Lisa Nichols. So not sure if you're hearing me, because I can't see you and the microphone is cut off.
I can hear you. I can hear you.
Okay, great. Yeah. So I do an event this year with Lisa Nichols. Only one big event a year, because it takes a lot of time and a lot of effort and a lot of marketing. So I'm enjoying my life as it is. And yeah, those are the highs and the lows. And sometimes people see me and they think, oh my gosh, she's always doing something. Yes, I'm always doing something. And don't think I don't have anything that doesn't go wrong, because things go wrong in my life all the time. But for me, I'm one of those people, after I get over things, I brush myself off, get back up, and I'm on track again. And in all this, I still have 4 children and 4 grandchildren.
Wow.
4 old children.
Wow. That is that you've definitely been juggling a lot of things, and that's very inspiring. And that kind of leads me on to the next question in regards to being a woman in business and how hard you find it. I think over the last couple of days, we've seen a lot of weird things come out in the media in terms of there was a on Daily Mail front page, they had this thing about Lexit between Theresa May and Nicola Sturgeon. I don't know if you saw it, but basically they was kind of making fun of them having their legs out rather than focusing on like a very serious issue like us leaving the EU. And today it was also, there's a hashtag, I think it was Black Women in Work, because there was like some racist comments made by people in the American media regarding Black women doing journalism or whatever. So it just kind of made me think, like, how hard is it actually to be a woman, and even a woman of color, in the business world? And do you find that it's more difficult than maybe another counterpart being a man, or have you not experienced things like that?
Do you know, I can't even answer that question, to be quite honest with you, because I mean, I've been working for myself now for so long, since 2000 and well, actually, hold on. I gave up my job in 2002 and I went into what I called semi-retirement. I went and traveled the world for a bit and came back, and only ever done part contract jobs until I decided that I was going to open the nursery. So this is something that it was like a gradual process for me. I didn't even think about, oh, me being a woman and being in business, but maybe because my main business here, the nursery, right, is usually run by women, I suppose. So I don't get any stick for it, and I don't think about it at all, really. I just like get on with stuff. Being a black woman, you know, I don't think, oh my gosh, I'm black. No, I don't think about those things there. I just get on with it, do whatever I've got to do, I'll just do it.
That's brilliant.
That's the
finding
mindset.
No excuses.
Yeah. No, even sometimes people come to me and they'll say to me, oh, you know, but my children are young. To me, that's not an excuse. When my children were young, I used to go to university, and I was going to university full time. I was working part time. I'd come home in the evening. I'd go to bed, you know, make the dinner, go to bed at like 7, 8 o'clock in the evening. And I'd wake up at like 10, 11 o'clock, study till 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, then go to bed for a couple of hours. And that's how I did it until I've done finished my degree. So when people come to me and they say to me, can you not make so much noise, please? Sorry. When people come to me and they say, oh my gosh, but I've got children, it's all right for you. I did it when my children were young. You know, when I decided that I wasn't going to go to work anymore and I was going to start my own business, I would be at home and my kids, I used to hear my kids, oh, she's always in front of that computer. That's all she does. She's in front of that computer. And I'd say to them, listen, right, you know, I'm in the house. I'm trying to make a better living for you. You know, I'm trying to give you the things that you want to have. And it's only as they are older now do they really understand that. So they was what? 9 years old now they're 20 odd years old. Do you know what I mean? They're all entrepreneurs. All of my children are, all 4 of them, they are all entrepreneurs. They understand now, but at the time they didn't. She's always in front of that computer. I'm trying to make a living. I'm trying to find a way to earn a buck, honest buck. All right, £1.
That's inspiring that you've you know, your children have also gone on to like kind of work for themselves, especially in this, you know, this day and age where it's even hard to get a job. You know, it's expensive living in certain parts of the UK, especially London, and you know, you just want to be able to have things for yourself. So I completely admire that. You know, you're very inspiring in letting people know that these things definitely can be done.
Absolutely.
So
When I was into properties in a big way, I'm not into properties in a big way right now, but when I was in those days, I bought all these properties, and now I've been able to say to, like, when my daughter was getting married in 2011, like, here's a property for you. You have that. You know, my son's, my other daughter. But in them days, to buy properties was really, really cheap, but not as it is now. You know, it is a lot more expensive now. But that's life, isn't it?
okay.
There'll be a property crash soon. So when there's a property
I was just about to ask you what are your predictions for you know, us actually leaving the EU?
Well, do you know what, right? I know, first of all, it's going to be a lot of, you know, trial and error, trial and error, trial and error. But in the long run, you know, after the teething problems is over, everybody will see that it will work out, you know, for the better. You know what I mean? Britain are not stupid, right? They're not stupid. They're good at negotiating. They're good at creating new things. They're very, very innovative. Like, the people bang on about, you know, America, but at the end of the day, our infrastructure, this is my theory, our infrastructure is far better than America's infrastructure. And I don't know if he was listening to me today when I was talking about the cameras, for example, right? In London, we have more cameras in London than we do in the whole of Europe. All right. And the British government know how to make money. They are very creative and very innovative. So whilst we are going through a little turbulence right now, it will smoothen out sooner or later.
Wow, that's brilliant. Thanks for giving us that insight. And you know, I think a lot of it is like be kind of fear-based as well, rather than actually just dealing with the situation. So it's very important. So let's just talk about your books quickly. What have you written about? You've done, I think you're on your second book now, is it?
Yeah, I'm doing an anthology at the moment. So that's there's 16 of us, including myself, 16 of us doing an anthology, and that's called Blind Spot: What the Eyes Didn't See. So everybody's had a circumstances in their life where something has happened and they just didn't see it coming. So And the reason for that is I wanted people, a lot of times I meet people and they all want to write a book, but they don't know how to. So writing a chapter in a book is supposed to be inspirational for you so that afterwards you can go on to write your own book. So that's what that one was about. So the first one that I wrote is called The Love List. That's my little baby. And that book there is taking me into some places, seriously. So I wrote that book on the back of a 3-minute interview with James O'Brien about years ago now. And it was coming up to Valentine's Day, and he was talking about the time when he was going to propose to his wife. He went to her family and asked them. They agreed, so he took her on holiday, and every day on the holiday he got drunk. He just couldn't get the words out of his mouth. So then he decided on the last day, well, I better ask her. And he said he was as drunk as a skunk, and he asked her and she said no. So he was using that as his program. And so he invited people to call in, if they had refused any marriage proposals. And one lady said yes, she had had 1 marriage proposal. Somebody else said 3 marriage proposals. Another woman said 5 marriage proposals. And he said, you've had 5 marriage proposals? I can't believe it. And then he just put it out there. He said, well, if you've had more than 10, I'd like to hear from you. I'm like, yeah, that's me. I picked up the phone and I didn't even think about my conversation. I hate that interview there. But that 3-minute interview has kind of like, I have to say it changed my life. I have to say it changed my life, because the day after, the Evening Standard called me and they said, oh, we've been onto LBC's website and we've listened to your interview. We'd love to interview you. So I said, yeah, sure. So they interviewed me. They put it in the papers. Somebody, there's a PR lady who put it onto Facebook. It was on Facebook for 4 whole days. On the first day, I sat there and I watched people making comments. I think for 3 hours, I watched them making comments after comments after comments, and I couldn't believe it. And suddenly I was like, oh my God, and I began to realize how celebrities feel. People say nasty things about you. And from then, I kind of like stopped judging people seriously. And I don't like to do controversial stuff since then. I don't like to do controversial stuff. And I realized how horrible people can be, especially when they don't know you. And so my sons were watching it, my nephews were watching these posts, and they're like, Auntie, have you read it? I'm like, yeah, don't say anything. People are entitled to their own views, especially when they don't know me. So, and this was like, a lot of the comments were people from the Christian community. So one of my nephews rang up one of the ladies who was making the comments, and he just said to her, can I, shall we, let's get married, something like that. And she said, no, just because we go to the same church, don't mean that we should get married. I don't really know you. So he said, exactly, like, you don't know me, so why should you marry me? And get off of Facebook and leave my auntie alone. So, and that went on for like 4 days. And then what happened? Then this social media guru contacted me and said, I've been watching your post. So that it was in the Evening Standard, it was in the Guardian, it was in the East London Line, it was in it's been in the Sun, it's now been in Pride magazine, and a few hours I can't even remember right now. But the social media lady contacted me. She said, I've been watching your story, what are you going to do about it? So she said, people are taking your story and putting it on their website because it's generating so many hits. So I went to Google, put the story in there. I was like, oh my God, all these like musical websites, they just had the story. It's got nothing to do with their industry, but because it was creating so much hits, they put the story on their website. And then after it died down, and they took it off. And so she didn't actually say to me, well, these are the 3 things that you could do. She just said to me, well, you've only got a couple of minutes before it all cools down, so you need to know what you're going to do. But that first year, when it first came out, the Sun newspaper and is it Tea Break, Heat magazine, all those magazines started to contact me. Some would call and some would write, and they wanted the story, but it was like 14 marriage proposals. They wanted to know names, they wanted photographs and all that stuff there. I'm not doing that, because some of these people have gone on to have, like, beautiful relationships. So I had to run some of them. And so based on that, the Sun newspaper, they was quite consistent throughout the year in, you know, trying to get me to write the story for, trying to get me to give them an interview for the story. So I thought, right, okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to write the book first, and then I'll give them the story. And they agreed to that, but let me write my book first and then publicize the story. So then I wrote the book, and then it became a bestseller, an international bestseller, not over here, in America, in Germany. I think it was four or five countries. And then it was all over Facebook. This guy from Facebook contacted me and said, listen, do you know Sharon Lecterlight? Yeah, he said, she's having a conference in Canada in June. You know, I can get you in to go and launch your book. I'm like, are you serious? He's like, yeah. So he said, the only thing is, if I get you in, you have to go. So I said, of course I'll go, of course I'll go. So I went over there to Canada last year, June, and I launched my book in front of 200 women. I got loads of sales, and I was happy. Since then, what else has happened? Oh, yes. And then actually, I was speaking at a conference in April last year, and I met this lady. You know, the Americans love the British accent, and we British love the American accent. So she said, you know, let's do lunch tomorrow. So she said, tell me about you. So I thought, right, I'm telling you about my book. That's what I'm telling you about. And she said, why did you write the book? So I told her, because I've had all these marriage proposals. She said, oh my God. Now this is a lady who is, she used to create reality shows for American TV. So she said, you know, I can help you to get on TV with your book if you want. Are you serious? She said, yeah, you've got a really, really great story. It's really strong. So I said, okay then. So last year, November, I was on CBS. CBS, in two different CBSs. I was on the 504 show. So I was on TV in Atlanta, oh gosh, New Orleans, and what's the other one called? South Carolina.
Wow. So
for my book. And then earlier on this year in January, I was literally on TV in Jamaica for my book.
wow.
They've got a show out there called Prime Time. It's only like 4 minutes or so. Each segment in each show is only like 4 minutes anyway. And yeah, I was able to publicize, to promote my book.
That's just amazing though, from just that, all of that exposure just from a phone call, a 3-minute phone call. And you know, as they say, and any publicity is not bad, even though in the beginning you was like head in hands sort of thing. You know what I mean? It's it just shows how it inspired you to do, you know, to do something. And you know, it's just amazing. You never know what the opportunities that can lie out there. So that's just an amazing story in itself. And I was actually going to ask you about you know, because you talk a lot about relationships as well, and I know that you've done you've done speaking on relationships. So you know, give us like a quick synopsis on what your views are, and well, I suppose a lot of it is in the book anyway, but just to like give us an idea of what is in the book.
So in the book, right, from my perspective, okay, so I've had all these marriage proposals, and it just started my brain thinking, you know, what is it that you really want, Sonia? What do you really want? And sometimes we meet people, we think, oh yeah, we're the same, we should get married, but not necessarily. There's also that thing about opposites attract, okay? And so what do you really want? A person who's 35 years plus, you know, most people that age group there, or most women that age group there, has had at least, you know, at least one relationship. And if you've had an intimate relationship before and it's failed, you'll actually know what you don't want, because you know what didn't work in that relationship there. But sometimes we don't go on to think about what we do want. We just think about the chemistry. Oh my gosh, he's great, he's fantastic, he's got a lovely body, you know, he's got lovely arms, or whatever it is. It's the physical attraction. But for me, I'd like people to go deeper in their head and really think about the skills and the qualities that you possess and the things that you don't possess, so that the other person can bring that to the table for you. You know, because there's no point the two of us being able to, you know, put in a light bulb, you know, somebody's got to be able to do the painting or wherever it is, something different. And sometimes we think, oh my gosh, no, the two people that are same, but no, we need somebody who's slightly different from us and who's going to complement our personality, and also complement our personality and complement our skills. Sometimes you see couples, right, and they've got high personalities, these like right brainers, high personalities, everybody's fighting for airspace, everybody's fighting for attention. No, that one's not going to work, you know, because there's going to be that power struggle. All right. So you need somebody who's on a different energy level from you, kind of. Yeah.
Understood.
So those are the things that I talk about in the book. So I get people to start thinking about what they've had in the past, what didn't work, start thinking about things that does work, things that you don't have that you think would be beneficial to you. But people change all the time. So I've got a list, right? And I can't tell you how many times I've changed that list, because depending on where I am in my life will depend on what kind of skills I need. All right. But on a whole, I know, you know, the core of what I need. So for me, I want somebody who is spiritual, somebody who is definitely single. So when people say to me, single, Sonia, yes. I don't want somebody who's married to somebody else and who's separated. I am divorced. I'm ready. If I want to get married tomorrow, I can get married tomorrow. Why am I going to wait for you to get divorced from your wife? No. So they've got to be single, right? So they've also got to be sane. I don't want somebody who's got like mental health problems. Now, I've been slated for that before, but that's just the way I feel. I used to work in housing. I know I've had, I say clients, but tenants who are literally on medication and their partners didn't know anything about it. Okay, they would come to the housing association, give me all of the letters from the mental health department and ask me to put it in their file, just so that their partner don't know that they were on any form of medication. All right, when the doctor comes to see them, they make sure that their partners are not there, or they don't have them come to the house. They literally go to the doctor's surgery because they have to get administered with injections or whatever it is. So I decided I wanted somebody who's sane. And then the next thing is somebody who is successful. So people say, you know, what is success to you, Sonia? Right? Well, success to me is only, I'm not trying to belittle it now, it's somebody who has a career. So if somebody is moving from job to job, then when I say job to job, they might be moving from job to job in different industries. You need to know what you're doing and where you're going, because if you're going to be the man and I'm going to be following your lead, you have to be a good leader. So that's why I wrote that book. Yeah, and also people have different needs. The one need that everybody has is love and connection. Everybody needs that, no matter who you are. A baby will not survive in this world without love and connection. All right, but there comes a time where, you know, okay, so if you're in a relationship with somebody, you don't need love anymore, but you might need to grow a little bit. So in order to grow, you might want to go and take a course somewhere, you know, or learn something different, or add some skills to what you already have. So everybody's needs are different at different stages in your life. You might be at the stage now where you think, right, yeah, you find somebody who's like giving loads and loads and loads to charities. They're doing a lot of work in Africa. They've got to a point now where they just want to contribute. They want to contribute to society, contribute to the world, and that's their thing that makes them tick at that particular moment. But our needs change from not from day to day, but from time to time.
Brilliant. That is given us a lot of food for thought, and I think a
Hmm.
lot of people, when they go into relationships, they don't even take the time to consider. They just, like, we're very go on what people look like. It's always about how that person
Hmm.
looks rather than the qualities that they have. So I think it is very
Hmm.
important that we take the time
Hmm.
to consider what we're
Yeah.
doing when we're getting into a relationship. And if I suppose, if people had the chance to hear what you had to say at the time, when you made the statement
Hmm.
about declining marriage proposals, it would make a lot more sense. So
Hmm.
it's just amazing how things work out, and how, like you said,
Hmm.
something that went viral and you know,
Mm.
was kind of at the time made you feel, oh my God, what have I done? Has actually, you
Yeah.
know, created something quite beautiful out of it. And now you can teach on that. So that's
Yeah.
really amazing. And
Absolutely.
the last thing that I really wanted to talk about is that you are going to
Hmm.
be a featured speaker in
Yeah.
Purpose Walk, and that is, well, in May, so not very
Yeah.
far. Can you talk
May
to us about
20th and
Purpose Walk? Because I
21st.
believe it's the second year now. And yeah, tell us about Purpose Walk and what you're actually
So,
going to be doing.
right. So my subject is master your hustle. Okay. So I'm good at showing people how to utilize their skills to monetize it. Okay. So many times we give our skills away for free, 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 and then we complain we've got no money. Okay. Everything you have, you've already got it. You just, and sometimes it's just about systemizing things. So that's what I'm going to be talking about, mastering your hustle. All right. That's your little side hustle. So the conference, so it's not my conference, it's Ava's conference. First year it was online. Now she's taking it offline. She's taking it in personal, in person, and it's about gathering a lot of people together who can help you to move from A to B to C to E to E, you know, so that you can make the changes that you need in life. And every speaker that is coming to this event has had some kind of traumatic experience in their life before. There's a lady there, she was literally bankrupt. Okay, she's coming from America. She was bankrupt. She has 6 children, and there was a day when the electrics, I think electric, what do they call it? We call it electric. Okay, they was coming to turn it off, and she literally had to beg them, please, 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 please don't, you know. And now, you know, she's changed her life around. And sometimes when you have a bad experience in your life, and you only have to look at people who are out there, you know, activists, you know, even if it's for cancer, any kind of industry, people have there's a bad experience that's happened to them, that's catalyzed them, changed them, and so it's propelled them so that they're doing a work in the community. So anyway, so she's going to be speaking, I'm going to be speaking, there's going to be so many different people speaking about different things, but it's all about helping people to find their purpose so that they can walk in their purpose. Because at the end of the day, sometimes we feel like, oh my gosh, what is my purpose on life? What am I here for? You know, I don't know. But if you knew all the skills that you have, and sometimes people don't even know what they're passionate about. Okay. But when you come and you listen to these inspiring speakers, you'll start to feel like, right, okay, this is what I should be doing. That's the person that I need to connect with. And even if you don't connect with the speakers, there's going to be people in the audience that you can connect with, people from here that you can network with, and just build a friendship, build not just a friendship, but also, like, you know, an accountability team, because people are so busy these days, and there's so many things on your list that you need to do, that you want to do, and you just don't get enough time to do it. But if you build a friendship around people who also want to do business, and just build an accountability team out of all of them, you'll go far.
Definitely agree with you
Mm-hmm.
100%. So
Mm-hmm.
if you are looking for that knowledge and that drive to, you know, get to the next level, then I think it's
Mm-hmm.
definitely a good idea to get down to that event. And I think a lot of
Absolutely.
people, you know, a lot of people have gone through a lot of traumatic experiences, or, you know, just
Mm-hmm.
difficult times. As you know, in this day and age, we hear of it
Mm.
every day. So, you know, we need to get that kind of motivation in us and see that it can
Yeah,
be done by other people who have experienced it. So that is
absolutely.
just amazing that Ava's put on that
Mm-hmm.
event, and hopefully we
Mm-hmm.
can get to talk to her before it goes on as well. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's just been lovely. As you can see, Sonia has just got so much energy and drive. I need to get her secret on what, what her regime is to have all that energy and drive. So it's just been a pleasure having you on. Is there anything else you want to let the people know? What are your plans for the rest of the year? What's coming up for you?
Well, after I finished my filming for my TV shows in Jamaica, I'll be popping off there for probably a couple of days, not too long, maybe 5 days at the maximum.
Okay, cool. That sounds brilliant. And how
Uh,
can people connect with you if they just want to talk or maybe get some coaching or anything like that? How can people connect with you?
my email address is office@soniapoleon.com, and my website is Sonia-Poleon. That's Poleon. I'm on all the social media platforms as Sonia Poleon, and I think I'm the only one out there.
Brilliant. Okay, well, what I'll do is I'll put all that information in the description bar so that people
Hmm.
can click. You know, people don't like to do much work, so they can just click to get
Exactly. Got to
into
make it easy for them. Yeah.
that. And
Thank you
just
very
want to
much.
thank you for taking the time out in your busy schedule and to come and
You're
speak with
welcome.
us. I know that you've got another appointment, so I won't keep you here much longer. So yeah, just
Thank
thank you
you.
for coming on my show.
Awesome.
And hopefully you can come back again and just give us an update on all the amazing things that you're doing.
Wow.
And
Of
yeah,
course.
so guys, thank you for listening. If you missed out on the show, don't worry because it will be uploaded to YouTube so you can catch it.
Hmm.
And we will see you again very soon. Take care, guys.
Awesome.
Bye.
Thanks. Thanks, Genevieve. Bye.